Hello folks, welcome to another daily Bitcoin market analysis by Inspocrypto. Today we will continue our topic from yesterday because it's a big and long story. We can talk about geopolitics, about all the streams we are seeing at the moment, hours and hours and hours. So I started yesterday with FEMA, the program of the Fed who gives other central banks the opportunity to get liquidity, US dollars liquidity, for US treasuries as collateral. And usually, of course, many of you, if you are following the news, you will see some headlines like Saudi Arabia following Iran to join China and Russia security bloc. Or Brazil and China working together to kick Americans' ass, for example. Well, first of all, Brazil is part of the BRICS, and China, Russia, South Africa, I'm not 100% sure who is involved in the BRICS, but I would say, at least I would say that's Brazil, that's China, that's Russia, that's Iran, and of course South Africa. And Saudi Arabia is hitting more and more, it seems, to a potential BRICS membership, like also Egypt, like other different countries. So if we take into account yesterday what I told you about the FEMA, that, the US dollar and so on and so forth, the whole story has, of course, a bigger context. The FEMA was created in 2021, if I'm right. I'm not 100% sure, indicating no one would create such a program if it doesn't, if he is not sure it will be and will have some demand, right? Now, my background, just to make it very quick, my background, I graduated in international economics. And economics, it's mainly pure theory. Theory, and as well, not only the theories, but also models. And every time when I was making questions, the professor in front of me said, well, and the model is, no, I don't care about the model, but how it works in reality. That's where even professors sometimes stayed in front of me and said, well, the model, no, forget the model. That's a theory. A model is just to give you a really simple picture to understand complex things. But how it works in reality, that was always my question. How it works in my reality. I know the model. Okay, fine. I got it. But how it works? And that's where I started to have more and more a scope to geopolitics. Because geopolitics is, I would say, the Premier League when it comes to economics and politics in general. Premier League, for those who are not really familiar with soccer or football, it's, the top of the top. And why? Well, actually, because geopolitics covers everything. Everything. It's, it covers every single corner of our daily life. Now you could say, wow, that's a little bit exaggerated. No, it's not. It's not. Because it's not only about our currencies and money, but about our products, about our job, even about the education of our child. Everything is connected. And geopolitics, it's now in the recent month, we have started to talk more and more about geopolitics. I remember just a few years ago when the president of Germany, yeah, we have a president, it's more, it's more a little puppet. He doesn't have really any power. He has veto rights and so on for laws, but that's it. However, one president once said, Germany should bring more time and resources to protect and defend their own interest on geopolitical level. The consequence was they kicked his ass from his position as president. Because in that time in Germany they said, "Oh, geopolitics, that's not good. That remembers us to past times we don't want to repeat." They were talking about the Third Reich, well, Drittes Reich, Third Reich, and Adolf Hitler. Now some could say, what? Yes, of course. Do you think Adolf Hitler was just one person on the street and then he received the power? Power is always combined with money. Always. No money, no power. Historically, I don't know one single hero that didn't have enough money to be the hero. So, I don't know if many of you know Ernesto Che Guevara, for example. The guy who just with a boat, I think he went from Miami to Cuba with Fidel Castro, and they started a revolution in Cuba, for example. Many think, well, it was just a guy, a student, doctor, medicine student that had a perfect vision. No. Someone, of course, gave them weapons, logistics, and so on and so forth. Right? Well, the same happens in the French Revolution, for example. It was financed by other kingdoms, and so on and so forth. It's always the same. It's always the same story. If you have a revolution somewhere, it's because someone has the interest to bring chaos in one country or whatever. Or maybe it's just about money. So I'm not going to talk about Ukraine at the moment because it's just, But if we take a look to Ukraine, for example, it started in the same way, with a revolution. And we can talk about 2014 and how the Bertelsmann Foundation was involved. Sometimes it's the Ford Foundation, and sometimes it's another foundation, or the USAID. It's also possible. Everything is always connected. And like I said yesterday, I'm absolutely fine if you love your own nation and you want to bring you want to defend the interests of your country. So it's not my position to show with my finger to the US and say, you bad guys, what you did in the last decades, it was absolutely bad, because it was in their interest. Like Germans did just almost 80 years ago. And also before, because we had 2 world wars. Not always only German interest, because, of course, Adolf Hitler not only received money from German entrepreneurs and wealthy people, also from the family of Shell, also from the Bushs, and so on and so forth. So that's everything about geopolitics. And that's why, for example, Germany at that time started a multi-front war, something that every person that knows a little bit about military strategies would say that's the worst case. But Germany was under pressure. Those who invested their money, and a crazy, sick guy like Adolf Hitler, they said, well, now it's time to cash out. And we want to have some natural resources. And the East. But on the West, we also had some problems because we had the front there, right? So what I'm indicating is every time when we have a big war, every time when you can be sure it's geopolitical motivated. Geopolitical means money, trades, to get some natural resources to make your country even bigger, more powerful. And right now we are in a situation never have seen in the past, well, at least decades, where we see that we had over a long time a monopolar world order. The US was the king. The US could say, what I'm doing is right, what you are doing is wrong. And when I'm going to bomb you and you are going to resist, I'm going to bomb you much more, and I don't care about your civilians, like they did in the past in different wars, even involving other countries, getting the headline of, the NATO, or it is absolutely fine and the UN agrees because it's absolutely necessary to protect some people there, so we need to bomb everything, like they did in the past. But that's not only the US. Historically, we had different nations, they did exactly the same. Well, not with modern warfare and bombs and so on and so forth, but like the Germans did in the past, like the French did in the past, like many others did. I mean, the United Kingdom, they went to Africa, they went to Asia, and not always they were just friendly guys. So sometimes history repeats itself. That's a fact. And right now we are in a situation where we see that the whole global order is splitting. We see that from a monopolar world, we are creating at least a bipolar world. Just imagine, like, I don't know if you know the theory of group dynamic. In a group dynamic, you have maybe 20 persons. And from this bunch of persons, you will find maybe 2 guys who think they are better, they are smarter, and they have a very particular, very useful skill. It's leadership. They know, I can make quick decisions, I'm extremely motivated, I'm brave, and I know how to tell you should do something I need to do, and you will follow me. That's what they call alphas. When you have one alpha in a bunch of persons, then it's fine. You have a leader and you have 19 ants. When you have in a bunch of group of 20 persons 2 alphas, then the whole story is getting a little bit more complicated. Because usually then this group starts to split. You will have 2 alphas. And usually 2 alphas don't like each other. That's like sometimes like dogs, they smell each other. I don't know if I can trust you, and so on and so forth. And then they start to show you, I don't like you. So it's exactly the same. And when it starts to split, usually the first conflict starts. It takes just a little bit of time. Because the whole goal is one alpha feels threatened by the other alpha. Vice versa. It doesn't matter. The same happens when you have a global order with one nation that is the alpha, like the US in the past, over many decades, and then another alpha starts to grow up, like China, some would say Russia, and in the past some said it's EU. Oh, well, forget the EU. In the past, maybe Europe was one of the alphas, but it doesn't look anymore that they are. However, usually that brings conflicts. And we know we have conflicts. And we will get even more conflicts in the future. But usually then, when we are talking about economics and geopolitics, these countries know much more than we know in advance. And that's the most important thing, to have more information in advance to others. That's what usually the whole on-chain analysis, what we are doing every single day, should be for us when we are going to trade with crypto. Sometimes it works very well, and at the moment I'm very frustrated because it doesn't work that good. However, the same on geopolitics brings streams. And what we are seeing is that the US is just bringing their position ready. They know that the global order is changing, and they know they can't stop it. They know that the dynamic of those alphas is changing too quick. And they also know to bring everything to let escalate a huge conflict could be the end game. So what they are doing with such programs like FEMA, what I introduced you yesterday about the Fed that is giving you as a central bank the opportunity to use your US treasuries as collateral, and the Fed gives you US dollar liquidity for it. Now you can say, but who cares? The US dollar is going to crash. That's the thing. It's not going to crash because of that. Because you can be for them or against them. If you are against them, fuck off. Go to China. Go to Russia. Go to the BRICS. I don't care. But if you are for them, and if you are against them, you are potentially target for a conflict, military conflict, just to make it clear. So, but if you are for them, then we will support you. Indicating, like they did with gas, for example. If the Germany was coming closer and closer to Russia because of its gas. Because one of the big engine of the German economy was the cheap energy coming from Russia. Russia received money, Russia received some rights in Europe, some of their wealthy people could just come to Germany and to Europe in general to have a nice life there. They could make some trades and so on and so forth. So it was actually for Germany and for Russia, it was a win-win situation. But of course, not for the US. Of course not. So what they did finally and what they are doing is Germany depends now much more on gas of different countries like Canada, US, and some others as well. They are making its own bloc. They are creating a Western bloc. A bloc that will be led once again by the US, but we will have at least another bloc. I'm not sure if we will have just 2 blocks or 3 blocks. I can imagine we will have 3 blocks. One bloc led by the US, another bloc led by China, and another bloc led by Russia. Why? Well, Russia, and I have said that in the past, Russia doesn't have the same interest like China. They need each other, but they don't have the same interest. While Russia, for example, defined that their goal is to create a trade route between Russia, Iran, and India, China has much more scope for their Silk Route. Yeah, sometimes they cross each other, but they have different interests. And so, what they are doing, especially the US and the Fed, is be ready for the future. While Russia, for example, and China is buying gold, much more, it seems, at least that's what I'm reading, I'm missing it from the Western countries. So what's going to be the alternative? Well, I guess that those who are not going to be to the Western Bloc, they will try, or they, I think that's that's part of their agenda, as to bring more gold in their central banks to stabilize their currencies. The question is, what will do the Western Bloc? And it seems the Western Bloc will get more US dollar liquidity for US Treasuries collateral, indicating the US will not stop to print US dollars. The question is, of course, because Donald Trump, when he was president, and even in Florida, a senator just created a bill that I have tweeted years ago, because also Trump was a fan to back a digital US dollar with gold. And a Florida bill that made the question if it would be possible to bring a gold standard back to the US. Of course, everything has changed because, Donald Trump, they kicked his ass out of the Oval Office and so on and so forth. And I never heard about Biden to say anything about gold. It seems they want really just to maintain the current system that they have. So what we are seeing is a big transition. It's a transition where what we have seen in the Cold War, it was just a foretaste of what we will see now in the next years. In the next 4 or 5 years, you will see how everything will escalate more and more and more. Because now it's a battle of who is going to be the leadership later on. And that will take time. And that will bring a lot of pain. But when I'm talking about a transition, also means that everything has to work better. You remember the Cold War stories about, for example, how they rushed to create modern arms, how to make the best developments in aviation, and so on and so forth. The same will happen again. And now we come back to crypto and why I think that crypto is going to be part of it. Crypto makes everything just faster. You can, with artificial intelligence, if you are going to connect both, and we know that's absolutely possible, You will do automated a lot of processes, make it quicker, and you can develop even things much better. You can faster, better, and cheaper. You can, at the same time, when we are talking about cyber attacks and so on and so forth, and decentralization, we will see also here a lot of advantages. So the future is not going to be easy for all of us. A lot of things will change, and it will take time, and we need to read between the lines. But the thing is, and I have said that many times, the US dollar is not going to disappear, like I mentioned yesterday, like many Bitcoin maxis hope, and they can use some shows like yesterday, for example, just to to make this Bitcoin sign on the building of the European Central Bank. Guys, no one will care about that. No one. But also interesting is like why, for example, the US wants at the same time just to fight crypto. And that's a question I can't reply at the moment. I can't answer. Because at the same time we know China banned crypto. We know that Russia is working on crypto bills. It's working even on crypto infrastructure. And at the same time, Senator Warren is saying that for the re-election campaign, they are going to build an anti-crypto army. In my opinion, the big problem here is that crypto is not in their hands. And as just mentioned before, regulation is necessary. And I don't have any doubt that we are not going to have one block regulation against the other block regulation. That's not going to happen. I mean, when even Hong Kong is saying we are working on a global crypto regulation framework, that's saying everything. Means they are connected, they are talking, they have an exchange of ideas, and that's what they are going to define at the end as a crypto regulation framework. However, it seems that the US is very motivated to fight some bad actors related to crypto. You know what I think about Tether, you know what I think about Bitfinex, you know what I think, well, CZ, Binance. I absolutely don't care about both. I mean, I don't like what they are doing, but they are defending their interests. At least sometimes, I'm not sure if that's just for their image, but sometimes at least they try to bring some transparency in their operation, something I'm completely missing related to Tether and Bitfinex, for example. So, as I have mentioned just in the past many times, in my opinion, what the US has in mind is just to fight all these toxic persons and to regulate the market in a way that will be compatible globally. Even, and that's the most strange thing, we know that on geopolitical we have big disruption between the West and the East and so on and so forth. But I think all of them know exactly that the future is a common future. Not going to talk once again about the world government, but yes, it's a run of who is going to have the big voice later on, but the transition until then will be extremely painful for all of us, also for crypto, for all markets, and it will bring more military conflicts and blood, unfortunately. So I will try to continue this series to bring more and more topics, to bring the context to crypto, to bring the context to the geopolitics, and also to the monetary policy, because everything is connected and involved. And well, 30 minutes, I think we should be done here. And now let us talk about the market. So the wealth ratio, 30 days moving average, as you can see here, is declining more and more, now reaching even a level below 50k. So it didn't bounce and went up. It's really frustrating me, because usually it should have any effect and doesn't have any effect at the moment. So it's yeah, they 3 days, almost 3 days in a row, maintaining a level of 52, indicating we should go a little bit more up afterwards. But I'm still missing the big sell pressure, and that's something. It's really kicking my balls every single day, really every single day. And I'm then usually, when I take a look to what they are doing, for example, related to the weights ratio 1 day time frame, I check the 1 hour time frame and the 30 hours, and then I see 84. Okay, it's distribution, but that's it. That's absolutely it. Not indicating anything else. Usually when you are noticing something that the sell pressure should start to rise, someone is sending stablecoins once again to centralized exchanges. It seems just to support and to maintain the current price. That's happening since, well, I would say, since weeks, almost 2 weeks now. And well, we had this night just a pump and dump. We need to check later on if we can see any context. I think the big context was here really just to unload even more, but we will check that, because that's what they like to do with pump and dumps, and that's actually also what pump and dump groups like to do, right? It's short-term FOMO to just to unload even more and to make a good gain. So if we take a look here, nothing has changed. We are still having this tiny range between 84, almost 85 and 83. That's crazy, but that's actually it. Let us go forward. So if we take a look, we had closed before the pump and dump. We received here almost 5,500 bitcoins, and that was at 10 p.m., 11 p.m., and then at 4 a.m. they pushed up very hard, hitting 29,200, and then they dumped it to 28. So that's actually what they did here. And afterwards, today, the maximum we received was 1,000 bitcoins. At the same time, you can see here as well, 3,590 bitcoins outflow, then 2,000, another 2,000, and so on and so forth. So once again, reacting to what bears are doing. And if we take a look here to stablecoins related to centralized exchanges, nothing really happening here. So more red than green, I would say, and usually also indicating that no more money is coming in. Let us go forward. So if we take a look to our futures here, we can see that the funding rate lifted up, declined a lot afterwards. Once again, it pushed up very hard, and then it declined, or it's declining, but also here indicating that they demanded a lot of longs, Not sure if that was because of the pump and dump and they are expecting now to go up. Absolutely not sure about that. So if we take a look now to stablecoin net flow, indicating that we received here a net flow of 112 millions, while the funding rate at the moment declining. So absolutely early to say if they are right now just really preparing the next leg up, hitting 30k, or if they are preparing the way to the downside, hitting 27.5 or something. We need to check. But however, if we take a look here to Bitcoins, for example, we can make this here. We can see that they are right now taking out much more Bitcoins from derivative exchanges. We can see here as well almost 3,300, 4,000 Bitcoins here in the last 3 hours. And that's only the net flow, while the net flow, the green net flow, not indicating anything big happening. If we take a look to the aggregated, we can see that the open interest is reaching slowly, but it's trying to go more up and hitting a level of October, November last year. We are right now above of the level we had just in September, for example. Leverage ratio, of course, also lifting up with the open interest, and you can see the aggregated funding rate pushing up very much. So if they start to nuke, I guess they will start to liquidate a lot of late longs. If we take a look, yesterday, for example, they liquidated almost 1,100 Bitcoins in shorts and 300 Bitcoins in longs. So if we now go to the blockchain whispers, I can see here it's crazy. It's really crazy. Usually I would say that's extremely bullish. 58 to 42 in favor of shorts, and 46 to 44 on Ethereum, also in favor of shorts. On Bitfinex, they declined a lot, so from 21 millions, now 70 millions, and they reached or arrived almost 150 millions in longs. So indicating, they are flipping a little bit more to longs than to shorts, it seems. I have to say that the most purchase power is coming from Kraken, Gemini, but mainly from Coinbase. That's really crazy. But if we take a look to the time when they are always pushing up, it would match. So nothing. In my opinion, the Asian market right now doesn't have anything to do with what is happening. So if we take a look, we can see 250 millions. Well, so even less. Still more on the long side than on the short side. If we take a look to the high leverage, we have here the highest position at the price of 28.3. If we go down, 28.2. So the range for potentially such kind of volatility would be between 28.2 and 29. So we need to see here. Let us go forward. So right now I'm just going to analyze everything that happens when we reached our peak today or yesterday night at 29.2. We can see that Binance CBD is negative since then, 33 millions. aggregated even a little bit more, 38 millions. BUSD is positive, crazy, with 3 millions. USD not that negative, only 9.6 millions. Bitcoin collateral futures. So yesterday someone asked me, what is the difference between coin margin contracts and stablecoin margin contracts? You can place a future for Bitcoin with Bitcoins as a collateral, as margin, or stablecoins. And that's what those different. That's the difference between both charts. This here are Bitcoins as collateral, and this here stablecoin as collateral. But both are futures related to Bitcoin. So, and this time it looks once again completely different. So, Bitcoin collateral, a CBD of minus 208 million. That's a lot. If we compare it, that stablecoin, it's only 600 million. So usually it's only 10%, sometimes 20%. This time it's much more. And that's also once again really strange, to be honest. Really, really strange what they are doing. I don't know why they are using... Well, it makes sense if you want to be riskless. To use Bitcoin as collateral instead of stablecoin due to the fact that stablecoin can depeg. So it would make sense, but you know, it's really interesting. We reached here support area, and you see the trend line here. We have two. We have ones here, and we have another ones here. If we break this one, we should go down, hitting 27.3. So we need to see what's going to happen. I think they will maintain that level here for a while and then maybe break, and we need to see. However, we can see BUSD is pushing up instead, while the aggregated in general as well. Only the Bitcoin collaterals not, and stablecoin just making what the price is doing. Bitfinex still doing exactly the same, not really bullish. Bybit, well, the trend positive, now distributing a little bit. Coinbase just buying more. I mean, take a look. That's really crazy. That's really, really crazy. 70,762 bitcoins in CBD positive since March 10th. Sick, absolutely sick. So the whole purchase power is coming from the US, basically from Coinbase, of course supported by Bitstamp, Bybit, Kraken, and Gemini, who announced yesterday it's going to launch an international exchange, Gemini. The twins. Oh my god. Oh my god. However, we are done here. Let us go forward. We can see, of course, stablecoins came in. We received here, well, that was yesterday, but today it looks a little bit more yellow, indicating 200 millions arrived here. We can see that the supply on centralized exchanges lifted up here by 9 millions, nothing big. And we received here also those 200 millions. And the question is, down and then more up would be possible to buy the dip, the local one, and then push up once again. Even here, Tether, 49 millions. You can see a lot of inflows coming in. Here a big outflow from USDC, 45 millions, but also here some yellows indicating also here's, you know, we are receiving more stablecoins in general. And here, well, nothing have changed. These guys declining a little bit, declining a little bit, declining a little bit, pushing up, declining, and nothing. So also here absolutely unchanged, to be honest. Let me check. They received even more wallets while the balances of the market maker is declining. I will show you why. Market maker entity, 935 bitcoins here, 1430 bitcoins here, another 227 bitcoins here, 75 bitcoins here, 522 bitcoins here, 315 bitcoins here, 1370 bitcoins here, 195 bitcoins here. It's just they are selling. It's pure distribution preparation. That's the only thing what they are doing here. That's absolutely everything what they are doing here. And they continue and continue. So when people are saying, yeah, is it possible that the market maker is now using, no, because I can see the fund flows. I mean, you can see what they are doing, 1000 here, another 1400 here, another. They are selling. They want to sell because the price is absolutely okay for them. 28.3, 28.4, crazy, very nice. Weights ratio only on Gemini at 95%, everything else very low. Matches to our weights ratio in general. Funds maintaining. And look that. If we had a ratio of 0.347 between, spot and derivatives, now we have a ratio of only 0.128, indicating they are using much more futures at the moment than spot. Now, the question is that partly also because they stopped the wash trading? I guess so. Partly. But in general, that's what we are seeing. Open interest up. So it means they are using much more futures than spot. Spot just to support what they are going to make with... and I mean, it makes sense. If no one is going to crash your party, I would do exactly the same. I would use futures. It's the best with leverage. Nice. You can do, you borrow just your bitcoins from the exchanges, and yeah, the thing is you can do it. But who is going to pay the bill at the end of the day? The exchanges? Or are the exchanges using their own? It wouldn't make sense, but maybe to liquidate their own clients. I really don't know. Market activity declining more. Nothing have changed here. Also here, nothing have changed. Also here, you can see that centralized exchanges at the moment, since it seems they started to prepare the end of the zero fees promo. It's declining a lot now, as you see here as well. That the activity on centralized exchanges now almost dumping. OTC lifted up a little bit, but just peanuts. So also nothing to see here. So Coinbase finally triggered their sell order here at 29K. We have another big one at 30K. And well, I mean, look, the last one would be at 39K. So it really don't surprise me to see bull call spreads now indicating 40K and so on, because if those actors in the US are now driving the market in the morning time, it wouldn't surprise me. I mean, absolutely not. 25K still, in my opinion, the next scope. I still think we will go down to 25K. The question is if we are going to trigger 30K before and then go down. So maybe go down to 27. Yeah, maybe here 27 to 50, and then push up once again and then go down. Oh, we need to see. I really don't know. Bitstamp. On Bitstamp, they are here also on 27. Also here waiting, a lot of volume. Hitting 31 even, 31K. and a bigger wall also at 22.5, but otherwise also 2026. Binance, on Binance they are protecting now 29k, also waiting here at 30k, and also waiting here 27. So I think 27 go down, 27 maintain there. Oh, we need to see. We really, I when I say I don't have any clue, I really don't, because we are checking different data, and that's the thing we didn't happen in the past. Usually I said, we need to see every data and then make a personal conclusion. But if you see some data that's solid, but the market is doing exactly the opposite, it's also indicating that something is wrong. And usually the data is not wrong. I mean, they can manipulate the market, the data. But to be honest, if we start to think that they are going to manipulate all the data, then it's pure casino. Then it's really just to drop some tokens on the table and say black or red, black or white. I mean, in my opinion, the only thing that changed is we have just a lot less wealthy people trading right now, and so that's what's happening. Just few can drive the market with futures. They know no one is going to crash their party, and they can do it. And the only thing what they are doing is trading against you. That's the only thing. Against retail. So, but also here, maintains 25k, 27, but also here still waiting there at 29. We need to see if the protection is yet just spoofing or if they really want to go down. 29.5, 30k, 26, nothing related to BUSD. Bitfinex, also nothing. We have here 26.6 a wall, otherwise 26 and 24.5. OKEX spot, nothing. Well, OKEX swap, nobody cares at the moment. Kraken, on Kraken waiting at 27.5, 26.5, the biggest 26, and here a lot waiting. Between 25.5 and 24.9. BitMEX, nothing. Now derivatives, Bybit, BTC USD, nothing. BTC USDT, nothing. It's always the same, I don't know. Binance, wow, when I see something here, it makes me really tired a little bit of this market. Look that. I mean, it's just use the button and everything else is done. Oh my god. Waiting here 28, otherwise here 26.5, so reduced here a lot at 25.5. BTC BUSD, perp, nothing. Bitfinex, nothing. Futures on Kraken, nothing. Wow. OKEX, they triggered here, now they are waiting at almost 30k. And Deribit. And on Deribit, nothing have changed. They triggered once again. Also here, look, Deribit. Look that. Algos. And 25,600 here waiting. Sometimes I think Deribit is extremely solid. We have here just a local POC, but yeah, that's it.